Hi, everybody. I hope I am loud and clear and you're able to see me. Uh, okay. Thank you so much. So, what are we going to do today is I'll just share my screen and walk you through. Okay. So, are you able to see my screen properly? Okay. So this is the agenda so far that I have prepared till now, which is summarize the session and then take any questions if you have. If at all anybody wants to clarify something or ask any specific questions, I'm open to that. Then we'll start the session two, which is data life cycle. Okay, so this session will go through. Then a little bit update from my side, the product that I have been building, the CXO Copilot, that I'll show. Just a high level update, like what all additional things is added, and then we'll discuss about Claude 101. This is the new course that I'm working on, and normal, right? So yeah, if let's dive right into it. Okay, so let me open up the slide. 1 second. Okay. Okay. So in a nutshell, what we do, right? We understood, like, how we surrounded by this thing called data, and uh, how it is, what formats in which it is collected. So we went through the, what data exactly is, and then we went through the types of data, right? Structured, semi-structured, and unstructured. How it is captured, we haven't understood it yet, but this is what so far we have discussed is like the different types of data, how they are different from each other, and at a high level, we understood how it is saved, or by taking an example of Zomato and Swiggy and Netflix as well. But that's very high level, right? Then we moved ahead and discussed how data becomes a decision, right? At a high level, very minimum example, where minimum example that we took, and then we understand a bit of market basket analysis and then recommendation at a high level. Then we understood matrices and KPIs, what they are. Uh, and we understood this terminology like that every KPI is a metrics, but not every metrics is a KPI, right? So that's a very important line in this particular metrics versus KPI discussion. So that being said, we try to come up with, through a case study or analysis that in a marketplace, what kind of KPIs will be there, right? It's not very detailed, but at a very high level, how marketplace functions. This is what, and the KPIs into it is all we discussed. I gave other case studies also, which you should be able to go and figure it out, like, draw the flow diagrams or just list down what KPIs and matrices it should have, right? So, and then at the end of the day, we understood like every industry runs on data. It is very uh, business and data is not different thing. It's the same thing. It's the soul of the data now, business now, right? So that's at a high level. These are the jobs which we saw after 2010 that came up, and it's booming in at an alarming rate that people are actually jumping or changing their domains, right? So that is something we captured, and then we moved to three. We understood what types of roles are available, right? We understood the BI, DE, BI, then data analyst, data scientist, and what these roles do, right? We didn't understood AI consultant, but we'll do that, in a detailed way. So that is not very technical, but it just playing with strategies and suggesting, creating use cases and etc. But we'll deep dive into that because the program that we have that is become AI consultant is solely based on this particular role altogether, right? So that is there, and then these are the five things. I mean, there are a number of things that from our session you would have made a notes out of it, or you can go and watch the recordings and you might have learned more than these five things. But these are the preliminary things that anybody, whether student or a person who is changing domain, or want to start deep diving into data, it should know all, in a nutshell, basically, right? So that's the wrap up. You have a quiz, so you can go and take it. The answer is also available here. So that is how we started our session. That is session one. And uh, let me. Okay, the now we since we covered that, let me move to the other agenda, right? Any questions so far? Any recap? Anything that you missed and you want to ask now? Go ahead and ask. Okay, so I think it's pretty clear. So let me move ahead to session two, right? So where are we? One second. So we kind of summarized it. It's very preliminary and very high level. So we got this. There are no questions so far as of now. So hence we start the data life cycle. This session will be of 90 minutes. Okay. And as usual, the rules are again intact like we discussed in the session one, right? I mean the first PPTs and etc. Now, so here we will understand. So in one, what we understood is what data is, types of data, and how do we derive matrices and KPIs out of it, right? What roles evolved. But here we'll understand, like we'll double click on it, right? We'll double click on how data is collected, then how data is processed, right? And then we'll understand where it is stored and how it is made analytics ready. Analytics ready meaning uh, data processed or transformed in such a way that it will help you to build dashboards or analyze any business. Okay. So, for example, let me come out of this slideshow. One second. Okay. So, Zoom always does this. Okay. Okay, and so when we understood this is all, like we understood the higher level of data box. So this is how I want to treat, and I always study like this, right? So we understood what data is, and now we are going to do how it is going to fetched or captured, right? Then how it is stored, right? And in between it will come how it is processed, and then comes how it is stored, and then how it is transformed for analytics. Okay. So we will understand each. Remember, we were talking about the roles and responsibilities. We also spoke about that the roles in analytics has DE, data engineering, right? Then you have data analyst. Then you have data scientists, and then you have AI consultants. Okay. Now, what we are going to understand is this part. Okay. How data is will be uh, collected, processed, and stored, and made analytics ready is data engineer's job. Okay. DE job. Okay. So far, so good. So now, if once we have this understanding, how we are going to understand this role, right? And when I say we are going to understand data engineer's role, we are not going to do any. It's just a functional aspect, how data is collected and how data is stored, right? A bit of product also will come into play because let me. Data engineering is works start from here, right? But what type of data should be collected, right? Like data points, basically data points. 1 second. What data point should be collected? It's okay. It's I don't know what's happening. 1 second. My tab is not working properly. There is a lag, I feel. Okay. So it's PMs or business jobs. No. Okay, let it be. I think there is some issue with my pen. Okay. So what uh we are going to do is let it be. Okay. So what type of data should be collected? It's business job. Remember, right? Let's say, for example, I want to uh, let's give us our example. Like I want to create a course and I want to market that it, right? So I will be requiring what all things. So I'll think as a product leader or a business leader, and I'll understand that okay, I'll require name, email, and these kind of data to be stored so that I can understand the customer better. Okay. So all these things will be what attribute should be captured is done by business, but collect how it will be collected, how it will be fetched to store and to process. It's a DE's job. Okay. So at a high level in this slide, what you see is how data captures and how processing happens in a Swiggy story I have taken, and then we'll deep dive into it, right? So consider it like this. When yeah, time check, like not time check. Any question so far? Is it good? Any thumbs up, anything would be fine if you can provide. You are capturing, I mean, you are able to get what I'm trying to say till now. Okay. Okay. So what happens here, right? Consider this. When you have a app, right? Any app. Consider here as a very relatable tool nowadays is Zepto, Swiggy, any e-commerce or any app which you use. Just remember that, and then start thinking how the data should be collected. So once when you download the data, download the app, right from that point of time to becoming a customer and having a multiple transactions And again, like opening every day, scrolling, let's say scrolling or ordering, everything is getting captured. The location to a number of orders, amount, AOV, everything, right? I think we are clear because we took the same example in session one also, right? But this is just a context as of now. What happens is there are four stages. If you just focus on the data part, not on the product part, only the data part. So there is capture, they store it, they process it, and then you utilizes, like we saw in the diagram also, right? So how captures, how we capture any answers from the audience, like how do we capture data? I just gave you an example also, like name, email, and these things should be captured. So that example also you can give. Anybody, Samundra, anybody?
Yes, I think like in many ways, like when you sign up, you'll give your email ID, name and surname, where do you stay when you are downloading the app, it will ask for whether you want to allow your geolocation, and while accessing, you're saving your address, while placing your order, you're giving your credit card details. So you can
Mm.
also compliance to everything, and you just say that, yeah, I want to share this data to this particular organization, like phone
Right,
number and all. Though it is for the
right,
communication, but still they are using it for other purposes.
right. Very well. I mean, see, uh, so basically, when you sign up, what it is? It is just a form, right? It's the form that you're, giving your inputs, like your email ID and these things. So through forms we can collect. So I'll go ahead and double click on each of it. So let's go ahead and deep dive into how they capture. Okay, so data capture happens not only these ways. I mean, the fourth one, if you see APIs and system, it's a very wide and open area. But you see this forms and input, right? Whatever we discuss as of now, majority of the applications, it's very common. It's very common. Forms and inputs are very common, right? When you're scheduling something, when you're booking an appointment, these things we get the surveys and etc. We type to there is a form that is circulated, which I also even circulate, and then you guys fill it up, and then I get the data and analyze like what went well and what can go well in future. So that is one. Now there will be another, which a lot of product managers, if they think about it, if any in this crowd, what can be a good example is events and clicks. So every button or every clicks that you make on your app, it is getting recorded, right? So that is one of the things, like events and clicks, that it is there. If you go to till cart and if you drop from cart, that is again a metrics and KPI. So let's say, for example, somebody went till cart and they dropped, then there is something called as adoption rate, cart adoption rate, right? How much, how many times I have went to cart and came back, dropped from it, basically. And that kind of metrics and KPIs that you would want to um, you know watch it for, right? Then there is sensors and signals that your location map is one of the predominant example, wherein they kind of your geolocation, where you went. Once you go into some places, right, and then the moment you come out of it, or like after 10 minutes or 5 minutes, you see a pop-up that how was this and this place rated, right? So all these is happening through sensors and signals. Now APIs and systems, uh, classic example is any aggregator app, let's say Swiggy. When you order something, it takes you to a payment aggregator page, where let's call it as a PayU or Razorpay. So that happens through APIs. We have a good amount of session for APIs also, but at the later part of this, I feel it's in this third PPT. I mean, this third session. This is session two, right? So session third will have APIs and all those things. If I'm not wrong, like I have it in third or fourth, it will be there. So APIs, through APIs, we consider API as of now as, so, there is, uh, I would have explained it in the pen, but let me try. Okay, yeah, it's working. So consider this. This is your phone, right? Right? And this is Swiggy's server, or call it as Swiggy side. Oh, I see a question. Am I on inaudible? Uh, Hello. Am I audible to you guys? Okay. You okay? Okay, Yogesh. Thanks. So, okay. So consider this you, and this is Swiggy side. Okay. Now, APIs at a very high level. What happens is, you know, uh, Swiggy can create its own payment gateways through which payment can process, right? But it will be another headache for them. It will be another big headache for them. They will have to manage that service also. Okay. So what APIs are basically, they it kinds of so there is a these aggregators like Razorpay and PayU. What they do is, so they are payment aggregators. Their sole motive is to fulfill transactions. So what they do is, so you understand this, like Swiggy has, in a way, it's already a big platform, and if it goes away and focuses on creating its own payment system, it will be a very big headache for them. So what they do is, they instead ask Razorpay, boss, give me something through which I can process payments. I don't want to take any headache of, seeing that whether the amount is settled or not settled, all those stuff. I don't want to go to the banking system and then club ask them for a partnership so that the transaction happens. I don't want to deal with all of those headaches. So give me something where in which what I can do, I can just plug into my system, right? And I get a request, okay, right? And request of what? So what happens? You open a Swiggy, you place order, click pay now, then it takes you to Rager's pay page. If you remember the cycle, how each section goes away, what happens? You click pay now, it takes you to Rager Pay's modal. Modal is basically a something pop-up that opens up, right? Now, there you pay through UPI, credit card, whatnot, whatever it is, and then the payment is received by Razorpay, and then so that is request. So you are requesting a payment, right? And once the payment finishes, it's done, then it will be a response, right? Which comes. So a response can be, most of the time you see these this, right? Payment successful. There can be unsuccessful thing also, right? So API works in, there is a request and there is a response back. Understand it very high level. So Swiggy will not take an additional headache and build an entire payment gateway system into its own app. So what it does is, it asks Razorpay, boss, can you fulfill this it for with me and give me something which is called as a API. Okay. So Swiggy will include that API into this button, and then when once this you click, right, then the request goes. Request means basically, okay, I have uh, all those cycle, like the okay, the payment is made. Now the Razorpay in between will say, okay, yes, payment has been received. Then the response comes back saying payment successful. This is what APIs are. So the data is also collected through APIs. Any questions so far? And this is very high level because I have a full dedicated API session included. Okay. So if not, I do not see the message as of now. So I hope it is clear and understandable. So, right. So we can collect data from forms and inputs. I mean, forms basically. Then you have events and clicks on the app. Then you have sensors and signals and API systems, right? Now, sorry. This is at a high level what Swiggy can capture. Swiggy captures basically, not can capture, or at a very high level, what all these things can be captured. So it captures your user ID, your device type, your app version, your time of order, day of week, session length, how much time you have spent on the app, right? So all these matrices is captured. These are all metrics. So let's say for example, Priya gets a unique user ID, right? Priya might have a device type, which is Android or iOS, right? And so does the app version. So it is all stored over there, right? Now here these things will come. The session one, remember types of structured and unstructured data, and so the API gives you semi-unstructured data, right? The with JSON format that we were discussing about, right? So all these will be collected, correct? Moving ahead, moving ahead. Now, similarly, when we had types of data as structured, semi-unstructured, and unstructured, right? We do have three types of data storage where it is stored. Okay, so uh, let's come over here. Let's come over here and hide it. Okay, so okay, so there is databases. Okay, there's data lake. One second, let's write it here itself. Data lake. Okay, and there is data where again same problem. I needed it here, but warehouse. Okay, data warehouse. So hmm, data warehouse. One second. Okay, now let me draw a box here. Okay, now what databases are, what data lake are, and what data warehouses are, and what data types they can store. So let's come to data lake first of all. Data lake is basically it's considered the terminology itself like lake, right? It's a kind of a lake, right? Not the physical lake that we see here, but it's a lake wherein all the data in raw format, any type of data, whether it is unstructured, structured, right, is can be stored over here. Okay, any kind of like videos, photos, text messages, anything can be stored over here, but it's a raw format. Basically there is no uh, if you take this data, you cannot do anything. You cannot do anything, meaning uh, it will be in, let's say for example, a JSON format, right? You will have name, right? Then you have body, right? So what you will do, you cannot do anything. It's just used for storing it storing purposes, because it can store any kind of data, right? So that's a data lake for you, right? And it's in raw format. It is not analytics ready. It is not analytics ready. Okay, not analytics ready. Now, when we come to databases, right? Databases are basically, it's like a, you know, it's predominantly used for, you know, transactions, based transactions. Okay, so every application will have a storage, right? A real time storage, you can call it, where everything is stored, correct? So if you come here, let me come here over here, right? Mhm. We starting from here because that's where, once you understand this and database, it will be easier for your data warehouse. Okay, so it's for live, real time purpose. So if I take real time purpose, okay, so for example, and it is uh, and it is structured. Okay, so what happens when you order something? Let's say, for example, you know, uh, when you order something on Swiggy, let's say Swiggy, I take a Swiggy example. I ordered something. Okay, now what happens? It gets, all your login IDs, everything, it gets stored over here. What you ordered in a structured way, it is stored over here. So if I look at the data, how in the database it will look at as, um, so let's say Akash, right? And then user ID will be something hash or 1 2 3 4 5 6, something like that, unique. And then ordered malai paneer, right? And quantity, address, uh, address. So all the details will be stored over here, right? Okay. It will be stored over here. Now, what happens? Okay. Now, so when we say structured, so it is well organized. Okay. So when you know a real world example that I gave you, normally a Swiggy order, ID status and everything will be lived here. A few of the databases that we use is MySQL, Postgres, MongoDB, right? Now, once we go deep into databases work in this way. Let me just extrapolate here. So you have a consider it as a library, okay? Databases. One second, guys. Okay. Consider it as a library. Okay. What happens in library? You have a lot of these kind of racks. Okay. So this is your databases. Okay. Now, how do you find a book in a library? So, for example, what you will do? You will understand, okay, uh, what type of book it is. It is the librarian, how it searches or look for a book, right? So, what it will do? Let's say, for example, I want to read something in finance. Okay. So, there will be schemas. There will be finance schema. Let's say there is marketing. Okay. There will be sales, for example. These all such schemas will be there. Okay. Now each, when you say each rack is a schema, then inside it there will be tables. Okay. Tables in such as, let's say, one table will have, so finance is a broad table, right? Broad hierarchy. So inside it will be, for example, corporate finance. Okay. IB, basically investment banking, right? Then you have M&A. So all sort of these things will be there. Now, inside corporate finance, what author do you want to see? You'll have all those things. Like, so once you head to table, inside table, it will look something like this. Okay. You will have headers like ID, author, publisher, publisher, state, country, like that. And then you can go and row by row, you can check, and then you fetch that book, right? That's how a library or database works. Okay. So that's how it works. So databases are that minute level. It is easy to maintain. Remember, you might have heard this term in session one also, RDBMS, RDBMS. So there are RDBMS, there are NoSQL DBs also. We have covered this also. These are relational databases, and these are NoSQL bases. We'll understand what it exactly it is. But at a high level, I mean, did you get an understanding of what databases are, how it works, uh, how what schemas are, and what tables are, right? Any questions? If not, I'll just give an example again. I mean, if you have any questions, if it's not clear, consider like this, okay? Database is the outer layer. Then you have schemas, a lot of schemas inside. Then you have tables per schema, right? And then you under table, you have one row for each authors, right? So that's how it is. Databases are, right? Now, data lake is clear, database is clear. Data warehouse, what data warehouse is? So basically, data warehouses are, you know, is a place in which, uh, let's say you have take an example of, you have a DB for finance, you have a DB for, DB. I don't know what happened to this. DB for finance, then DB for marketing, right? And you have sales DB. Okay, consider these three as of now, which will be very evident as of now. Okay, now you want to do something like this. You want to combine it, okay, and do some sort of combine and do some sort of analytics, analytics on top of it. Okay, so what you will do? You will kind of load these data in data warehouse, right? And query from that. So this is where nowadays majority of the companies are using data warehouses like Snowflake. It works on these uh, concept itself, Snowflake and these things, they merge. Because consider like this, every team has their own databases, so they can query their own KPIs, their own metrics. But what if we want to build something on a wider audience for a business point of view, right? At a higher business point of view. How we do that? So we come kind of store here inside warehouses. Warehouses are relatively very large in size, and it's so databases are very fast. Second comes your warehouses, latency is very low, and then data lakes where most of you can't do much of the analytics over here, so it is just used for a storage purpose. That is the crux of this uh, talk over here. Now you go through this slide and let me know if you have any question and you are unable to understand it. Right. So we understood databases, what databases is. It's transactional, it's live, raw, cheap, everything. So data lakes are cheap. A few of the examples are AWS, Google Cloud Storage. Then Azure also has that storage. So that is their data warehouses, Snowflake, BigQuery, and Redshift. Databricks also. Here, Databricks also will come. Uh, and then here, like every application has the backend DB, right? Mostly you will see that, MySQL, Postgres, MongoDB. Now in AI days, now few things that's coming up is Superbase is very, very, very famous nowadays. Then you have Pinecone, all for all those vector databases and etc. Right? So, but basic is this. If you understand how this works, this is a proper interview question. Like, give me an differentiation of database, data lake, data warehouse. If you are somewhere between 2 to 3 years of analytics, these are the hitted question that you will get in any interview, right? So, yeah, let me know if you have any question. I'm not able to see the chat also. Okay, I can see now. If no question, just give me a thumbs up. I'll move ahead. Guys, okay. Okay, thanks. So, right, this is just an illustration purpose, like where, based on the data types, right? What and the use cases where we will store the data as per a Swiggy point of view, right? So this is just for if any, let's say if any screenshot, any photo is there, we should store in data lake, right? Then any error logs, again the audit apps will go to data lake. I think this is already covered. Analytics, if it is analytics, then we do it in data warehouses. Database is purely for a real-time tracking, and all those things that happens on databases itself. So this is how it works, right? A company, there is no hit that only company should use databases or data warehouses. Most of the time, if you see that, they will use multiple vendors also. Like there are companies who use a Snowflake, BigQuery, and Databricks as well. There are scenarios like this. Okay, so I'll move ahead. Uh, yeah. Now,
Akash, 1 second. So the BI tools that we typically use, right? Tableau or
right,
you know
Power
MicroStrategy and all these things.
yeah.
Are they? Do they sit on top of data warehouses then? Because that's the curated data, or because I've been, we generally say that you can connect your database tables, and
Right,
then you
right.
can create some reports and things like that. So a
I'll
BI tool can sit on both on top of databases as well as data warehouses. Is it?
Yes, yes. It's just a strategy, Yogesh. If I'm, if I call it out. So what happens is, databases you can use like historical data also. Like let's say the real-time data comes, you can't do any analytics on top of it, right? You can't do that's mostly for tracking. But let's say if you want to analyze like how this person has behaved across this platform, what you will do, you will go to okay, from the sign up day to till date if you want to do, that's a historical. So databases can store historical data as well. That's not a problem. It's the way you utilize it, right? So when these companies like Snowflake and these things started coming up, right, they brought in a good concept of data warehouses. So data warehouses basically, if you see that Snowflake structure also, let me see if I have that login with me because I was using for, okay, 1 second. The CXO Copilot, right? I was using for this. Let me see if it opens. Yeah, this is a trial version. So what happens? See, if I go to catalog or okay, catalog, you see databases explorer, right? These are the databases as of now. But when I go to query SQL file, don't get tempted any guys, like what I'm sharing as of now. I'm just showing. So this is compute warehouse. So how this Snowflake is also like a, first of all, okay, we are digressing a bit, but yes, let me tell you all this data warehouse thing. Like for Snowflake, you don't need to have a install anything on your laptop. Okay, if you talk about MySQL and these things, right, you need to install in local like IDE or something, and then use it, and then connect your database and then use it. But in Snowflake, you don't need to. You need to directly jump off to the cloud. You create a user, sign up, then you get 14 days trial, and then you can use directly. Now, once you see here, it's like, user role and use warehouse. So warehouse is gives you a calculating power also. Like, the warehouse is of like a huge, you can talk about um, this thing, right? Cold storage kind, like, it's stored every kinds of vegetables. So every kind of vegetable is considered as like a databases. Now, if I cannot go and directly write queries, I have warehouse selected, but I cannot go directly and write queries, right? It won't run. Like select star from any table name. If I remember TPCH, 1 second, let me see. Okay. I cannot go, and if I haven't selected it, let's not, let's copy this. Okay. I cannot run it. I cannot, it won't give me any results. It says which database you want me to query. So now it will go to database. You select database, then you go to schema. Remember the schema thought that I was talking about? Now you go and check which schema my data is. Generally, these all things will be notified to you by the company itself, like the team manager or the data architect. They will say, okay, these in this schema you have this data placed. Now, if I go to, let me see which schema I have selected here. Come here, like Snowflake database, and then uh, I have selected, and then I have just select. If I run this, come on. Okay, orders is not there. I need to take a table. Okay. Okay, it's going to the account. Which table I have? Okay, Snowflake. Do one thing. 1 second. I'll just show it to you. I just created a Cortez service. Oh, this is the older one. I can't query. This is not the free one. Oh, I might incur charge. So you understand like this only, okay? I can't query as of now. Uh, so if I just do this and select TPCH SF, this is my database, and this is the table TPCH SF 1000 is my date like schema, and inside a schema I have multiple tables. So then I'll be able to query. So BI tools, it can refer any of the things. I mean, databases, it can work with uh, this thing also, like warehouses. Okay. Any other questions so far? If not, I'll move to ETL and versus ELT. Okay, let me pick somebody and let me know if. Okay, Samudra, are you able to understand so far? Just a thumbs up also it will work, but tell tossed or tell honestly. Otherwise, it will be like, uh, you know because I want everybody almost to understand this. Then only we'll move ahead, because I mean ETL and ELT is slightly again uh, what do you say, tricky
I'm
topics.
I'm getting it roughly, not much to be precise, but yeah, about the terminologies, I'm getting that much. But beyond that, it's hard for me to cope right now.
Right. So this slide, do one thing. You need to, since I mean, like we spoke, right, yesterday as well. You need you start doing it, because just your second or third day. So start doing it, and then connect with me. We'll do that. Okay. But
Okay.
it will.
Even I want like little bit more example related to this three things, so that before moving ahead, because the things will be critical ahead. So if
Right.
we can simplify it now and we can understand it better, then it will be easy for us to grasp the things which is upcoming.
Right. So tell me one thing. Which part you want me to? Database, data lake, data warehouse? Which one is not clear?
I mean, you can just give a comparison, like which one is the bigger one. Like what I have understood, data. Can you open the slide?
Yeah, yes. Hmm.
Yeah, like first is the smallest chunk is like database, and then little bit bigger is data lake, and little bit bigger than like all these two are data warehouse. So like let's say in e-commerce, like daily, like normally processed, like let's shop is a database, and uh, collection of supermarket, supermarket will be a data lake. But from where the data are coming from, like from somewhere it will be generated, like manufacturing unit, or they are clubbing it together, the bigger warehouse, so we call it a warehouse. So from warehouse, like from where we are getting in a supermarket, from supermarket to a, like we can call it a wholesale market, I guess, wholesale, and then it's coming to a normal shop. I mean, this kind of practical example, it will help us, because many of them are, we are not from the technical background, so it is difficult for us to understand the first level.
Yeah, that's what I keep asking, So let me just go ahead and, you know. So first of all, it's not related that there is no relation between data lake and databases, okay, and data warehouse. Consider it like this as of now, okay? There is no relation. It's not like data lake can hold this much of data, and this functionality is altogether different. Data lake is only suitable for storing. You can't query. It can store anything. For example, if you talk about retail and all those stuff, right? Consider it like uh, farmland, right? You can grow paddy, you can grow anything, you can store anything. Consider it like that. It can hold any objects, okay? It is not directly utilized to query, okay? Understood this? This is the data lake is like that. So whenever in a corporate setting, if somebody tells you that we are using, let's say, Azure data lake, and the data is there, it means it is not ready to, it is just a raw data, raw format, meaning uh, it is kind of a, like, it's not packaged. It's a, let's say, okay, it's a one second. Let's say it's wheat, I mean, sorry guys, one second. So let's say it is paddy which is getting cultivated, right? It is not polished, it is not labeled, it is not packaged. Okay, it is not packaged. And So those things will be utilized in data lake, will be there in data lake. So far, so good. Anybody,
Yes.
right? So when it is the packaging and everything, like it's purely raw, it's purely raw. Okay. So it is data lake. That is where we would like to hold the data. Now database comes into picture. For example, if you use uh, any application, let's say any application, okay, let's say Swiggy itself. I'm sorry, I have to bear with my pen today. I'm not sure what happened here, but just understand it. So Swiggy, you ordered something, all the data, you saw this screen like payment done, your order will arrive in 10 minutes. So all these will go to databases, okay, will be stored in databases in real time, and then the estimated time of arrival, ETA, it will read the databases based on all those algorithms that the store, the Swiggy store, dark store, right? I hope everybody understands how Swiggy works. Instamart, I'm talking about, or normally a restaurant also. They show a ETA that 40 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes it will take, right? So when you select and add to a cart and process the payment and place the order, it gets tracked in databases and then ETA will be assigned to you, right? So whenever you see that the timing is getting reduced, it is coming directly from the databases. Now we will say that they must be using some algorithm, but that is there, they are using some algorithm, but that algorithm is working on this database itself, right? So it is like real time analytics. If I just give you another analogy, for example, you have this, okay, you have a store, okay, let's say any retail store for a databases, huh? Now you have a POS machine. You know what POS machine is? Anybody who does not understand or knows what POS is? Okay,
Can you
that
repeat what did you say? Sorry, Akash, I didn't hear properly. What
POS
machine
machine,
you said?
the POS machine, or the the DMart store. They have this application wherein they everything is getting recorded. The billing,
The
the billing,
billing machine. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody has saw that. We have seen it, the billing
Yeah.
machine.
Yeah.
Now
Correct. Yeah.
these, the row level data, they will ask you the name, they will track the scanner, and then all the items will be scanned here, right? And then it will be stored in some databases. Now that particular order, right, it just got into the system, right, into a per row. Let's say Priya did some transaction. If Priya has one row, then Samudra is there, then he will have one assigned row, right? Now if you go and ask this person who is billing, will he be able to tell you that in after before 10 days, how much did you spend and what all you purchased? He will not be able to tell that, because it's only for that particular session or particular day. He will have that record only for that day. That's real time. I mean, that's how your transaction also work in ATM machines, right? Can you not annotate? Okay. So here it will be for the day. So that person, okay. So that person who is billing, he will only see, let's say, 1000 orders on that day. He will only see those orders, right? And those orders will be stored in databases in real time. Okay. Now If in another example, okay, consider it as uh, a Standard Chartered Bank or any other bank ATM transactions. You went, you swiped in, and then you got a transaction. So per day, you for that day, let's say you withdraw 10,000 rupees. So you have user ID, you have which ATM location you withdraw, cash uh, deposited, and then cash withdraw, and then you know uh, your total balance for that day, right? It has only that data. It is not possible for me to get the entire month statement, right? Because that's the reason every bank gives you at the month of the day, because it will consolidate all and then put it in the statement. So in a nutshell, what I am trying to say is databases are are basically the library example that also I gave, right? You can store like let's say retail, you have a retail store, and then you have different types of goods, right? You have baby care, you have soap, edibles, everything. So those are the schemas. Under that you have Safola, then you have Dettol, under each schemas or on their own schemas, right? So that schema, then table you have. Right, correct. So that's the databases in a nutshell. Is it clear as of now? Data warehouse, I'll come back. I'll come back now itself. Or also, if you see this, let me open a G sheet. So there is another thing that I wanted to tell you also, right? You just don't record, don't just listen to me. You go and read also, right? Because so consider, okay, the G sheet is opened. Now I'll name it as this thing as, let's say, a a supermarket DB. Okay. Now this can be one finance, this can be marketing, this can be uh, sales, this can be HR. Okay. If okay, so this is my supermarket DB. This is my schema. Finance, marketing, sales, HR is my schema. Now in finance table, I mean schema, I will have multiple. Uh, okay, rather than that, I'll do this. Okay, so in this finance, I will have multiple tables. Consider this as um, this is going to be again confusing for you. So let's do this. Okay, let's do.
Akash, is schema and table interchangeable terms, or are they different in nature?
And it's different. It's different. So Excali draw. We'll spend some time, not a problem. I'll make sure you go and so this, right. Uh, let's say you have an organization. Okay. This is one. This is two. This is three. Sorry. I can copy paste this itself. Okay. Okay. Now, for example, okay, marketing, sales, This will be again like revenue, no, revenue, HR, and let's remove this. It's fine. Now, this is the outer layer. So this is your DB. Okay. This is your DB. Okay. There are two things in here. Now, DB is again made up of, schemas. This is schema. I'm using mouse. That's why this is happening, because I cannot use in here. I cannot use this pen here. Okay. Now, once we click on, if I want to go into finance, into corporate finance table, let's say I want to understand how my cost is, right? The balance sheet and everything. Let's say, for example, so I mean, this is my finance schema. Under finance schema, you have different tables. Okay. Different tables. So here it will be corporate CF. Here it will be managerial. It will be, let's say, IB, investment banking, wealth management, and other forms, like, there are revenue management and these things. So now these are tables. Once the table opens, if you click on CF, then what it will open? It will open something like this. You go. I'll come back to this thing. Okay, let's be here only. Okay, now. So this is CF. This is CF table, right? Now it will have all those records. It will have columns, column names, right? Which is called as attributes also, or fields also, right? And it will have some records. So rows and columns, right? Structured data, which is a property of database itself. So it will have uh, corporate finance structure. So if you talk about database is the higher bucket, then inside that you have schema, then you have table, then you have under table you have rows and columns. Okay, that if you understood this, then please let me know the database where it is used, the library example and other example as well. Guys, okay. I see Mohit is okay with it. Others, okay, okay, okay. So once you have understanding of this, right, let's move ahead to the warehouse. Now, data warehouse, it is basically, uh, okay, let me, okay. Data warehouse, it's like a, consider this as a big processing unit. Sorry, not processing unit, storage unit. Okay. So from the farmland, whatever is collected will be, let's say processed, right? And saved in some databases. Again, databases, like we discussed, it can be for real time also, and historically also we can use it. Real time means for that particular day, the data holds, like your paid puja, order details, order billing systems, they hold for that day. Now, and then the data move to historical layer. Historical layer is where you can analyze, you can diagnose the data. Diagnose means you can check what all happened. That's what diagnostic means. Okay, historically you can do, let's say for example, Akash, how much he has purchased, how much revenue did he give to us. For example, $10,000 is the value. So these all things will be done in uh, other strategy of database. Okay. Now, so it is taken here, farmland, I mean, this example, and then processed, made it into structured files, is given into databases, right? Remember our first class, like databases is stored in a structured databases, and it is structured in a way, formatted, cleaned, right? And then it is stored. Now, once you have, so let's say one database is finance, right? Then you have marketing, another database, because under finance marketing also it is different different business altogether, right? Like marketing has this performance marketing, then you have paid marketing, then other forms of marketing, like in offline, online. So every segment can have a detailed databases altogether. Okay. Now, so what happens, you have for each function you have a database, right? And guys, all these strategies is because of, this is decided by the company itself. The company decides everything. Okay, how they want to do it, how not, how what will be beneficial for the business. So you have databases for different function. Now, for example, your, let's say, CXO, any CEO wants to query or uh, understand any scenario, right? What he will do? He can't go to this database, you know, uh, he can't be querying single function or meeting with single department and come to a conclusion, right? So they create a warehouse where it is a collection, all these data will be stored in this. So like I showed in Snowflake, if you see Snowflake, you have a warehouse, and inside Snowflake, you have all the databases. Okay, so it's you can have multiple databases over here, and each database will have their own schema and then own tables, right? So data warehouse is, it's basically it is a type of collection of databases, I mean data warehouse, right? Where compute happens, where it is stored, and you can query and process and use it for analytics, right? Okay. So yes, tell me, is it okay for now? Is it clear, data warehouse? Guys, I need at least few thumbs up or answers, because the first thing that people are not on video, and the only thing that becomes very important is the thumbs up and these things. Okay. And like I always say, don't get intimidated once you start doing it, right? Let me just put it in perspective. When I started, I was very, very new to all these terminologies, and I used to get tempted. But the only thing to get ahead of this bizarre feeling is read. That's wherein I introduce something. There is this I have kind of built. So let me go to, okay, books. I have this two data books, okay? Data Foundation, Playbook 1 and Playbook 2. So it covers, like, what databases are, what data warehouse houses are, everything in detail. I mean, I would not say the detail, but the minimum information is there. You have to read, then only you can't say just, that try for 2 days and then oh, it's not happening. It will not happen in 2 days. It won't happen in 2 days. It takes people to for, like, years to understand this. So it won't happen in 2 days or 3 days. You have to put in effort. I'm sure nobody has, given a shot to draw that, the KPIs and matrices that I asked about. Even if you are experienced enough also, right? Do it. It will help you a lot. It will help a lot in interviews, whether it is PM interview, whether it is data interview or analyst interview, it will help a lot, right? So it has landscape, data landscape. I'll take you through the content. So, see, data landscape, SQL foundation, just don't do anything. Just read through it. You will understand it. You don't have to do any digging, but yes, read. What is BI reporting? What is statistic? How it plays a vital role in your, uh, you know, uh, data career, and then ML foundation. What is my these sessions and this book should go hand in hand. That's why I have accumulated and collected and, uh, put it across. It comes into two books, two volumes, and it's just 50 pages. It's just 50 pages, 56 pages, right? So that's what I want to do. Just, just have patience, read through it. Just don't come to session and then, okay, session is done, then fine. And I can see the recording analytics also. Nobody goes and watches it. That's the thing. So you have to put in a lot of effort. Then only people will things will come up. You can't say that, just one day, oh, it's not happening, I'll give up. That's then you are not a learner itself. You are just came here, like, just to, um, you know glimpse through it, right? So database, data lake, and data warehouse. And I think this is where I would want to stop today. Okay. um, Go read it, because I'll tell you, ETL and ELT, right? uh, this is the process. So so far, so far what we understood, how the data is captured, right? We understood about APIs also a bit. Now, what kind of data storage we are understanding this. Once you understand it, how data process happens, what two type of strategies people generally have, the business generally have. This is very, very important. And this is a straight away question. What is the difference between ETL and ELT? This is the pure, anybody who is like less than 5 years of experience will get answer. I mean, questions like this. Definitely. Then this one is OLTP and OLAP is a different, uh, another question, direct questions. Okay. So I would stop here. Go and read through. Uh, if you want, you can connect with me. I can make you understand even, after that as well. And let me know. I think I'll connect. I'll start this data storage next session again. From here itself, we'll again put it across. I'll I'll have another set of examples, but do read it through. Self-learning is also one of the most important aspect. Okay. So I'll stop here, but I wanted to showcase. Okay, I already showcased the book. Okay. Okay. Now the CXO Copilot. I have been, if you, uh, if anybody wants to drop, that's fine. That's not a problem. But I just wanted to showcase. The session is over. It is just extra 5 minutes I'm taking for from you guys. So remember we spoke about CXO Copilot initially in session one, Agent 101, right? So the whole thing is built. I mean, I would not say whole thing, but it's pretty much decent phase now. I can soon you will see is the LinkedIn post of it as well. So let me walk you through here, right? So I just sign in. Okay. Let me see which password I am using. Okay, correct. Okay, right. I signed into it. Consider that I am a CXO, anybody, and I'm using any here. This is now model agnostic. I'm using Anthropic as well. I'm using OpenAI. You can pick and choose which one you want to. I'm using free ones also, so you can pick and choose. Since I have Anthropic Claude API, I'm using that. Now you see connected sources. I already have sales and customer table connected. How it works is you can start a new chat or add a data source. Okay, once you click add a data source, right, it will pop up. It will give you a pop up, like this pop up. Now once you go here, you see Snowflake, Google Sheet, BigQuery, PostgreSQL, CSV, REST API, right? So just I have a Snowflake trial, so I'm using Snowflake as of now. Okay, I'll not demo it because again I'll demo with these sources, but because I have Snowflake, I think it's already stopped. So I'll give my credentials here, user account and this password, then warehouse, then database. This is also a good example how drilling happens, so you can understand how it goes. Okay, you choose a data source. So Snowflake is the one. You give login, account name, then you have user and password. Then you go inside the warehouse where my data is stored, right? Then you warehouse. Then inside which the warehouse you have which database do I need to query? Okay. Inside that database you have a schema. So you see the drilling is happening. You chose data source as Snowflake, then you gave the authenticated yourself, and then you chose a warehouse, then you gave database, then schema, and then you gave the table name. Okay, right? And then you hit connect. You can name the source, you can name the domain also. Let's say for that table is sales, or that schema is sales, so you keep the same name, domain name, right? All those functions is sales name only. Now you name the source, like I have given sales here, right? So I've given sales here. Then you hit connect. Then it will get connected like this. You can edit it also. You can go and edit it, this source. Let's cancel it. Yeah, you can edit this also. See, it is connected, but see the current values. Okay, revenue and sales, I have given name as sales. So I'll not do anything because it was running, right? Now I can go ahead. I can go ahead and type any questions. Let's say generate executive brief about sales and customer data, because I have connected sales and customer table here in Snowflake only. Okay, I'll just hit enter. Now see what happens. Okay, it is generating the data. So all this is happening through Claude Haiku. Okay, that model I have chosen, and it's thinking, and it will generate a executive brief. You see how it happens. Okay. It's taking some time because I asked executive brief about sales and customer data, right? So just analyzing it, and it will give me some results. I mean, it should give me some results. Right. Meantime, it's coming up. So I will start from these three types of data sources, right? And we'll go again. I'm not trying to finish it as quickly as possible, but I just need folks to be very a bit honest with them as well, and work prioritize this session rather than making any excuses, right? Excuses. So I mean, if folks want to learn, that's not a problem. So okay.
Akash, meanwhile, it generates the response. A couple of questions on the CXO Copilot.
Right,
So you have a section in your CXO Copilot UI where you are selecting the model, right?
right.
Uh, I understand this is because you want to try between multiple models to see which is giving better response. things like that. But ideally, in a production ready version of this CXO Copilot, the model selection is something that will happen at an administration level, right? Not at a user level, ideally speaking, right? Because it would a user is not equipped to decide which model to use. The end user, I mean, if you are signed in as an executive, let's assume
Hmm.
you are a CEO of a company, you're logging in, you are asking questions. Ideally speaking, they don't need any need to select a model or anything. It is kind of decided for them
Right.
as part of the product. Maybe it's surfaced on this UI because you want to keep flipping it to some other options and see how each of these models are performing against each other, right?
So the main motive is, see, now what's happening is no company, they're not only prioritizing only one model. Let's say I'll not go only with Claude. I'll have multiple, at least OpenAI and Gemini as well. So that if one, let's say Claude tomorrow comes up and says, no, the pricing is changed and the entire strategy has changed. Now you have to take this model as this is this what price, right? So at least you will have alternative to go through, right? So here what I've done is, it's not for up uh, it's like more towards the demonstration purpose. You can play around, you can do that.
Yeah,
You can
yeah. So it's more of a contingency planning that you're doing, but this will be probably a system administration element and not an end user element, if you think about it,
right,
right?
right,
Okay,
right.
got it.
Right. See,
Yeah.
here what he has done, it has done right. It has processed these many data. Okay. But maybe the query is, is something else. It will give me a PPT as well. And, okay, let me do this. Generate sales brief. Only important ones. It generates PPT, it generates PPTX, and if you have Gamma key, the Gamma also will generate. Okay, so that level it's done. So it's mostly like, if you improve here and there, little bit of that, it can be utilized by internal companies. It can be done with minimum to like 10-15% changes here and there. It can be done. That's not a I kind of, I'm yet to get feedback from other folks as well, but that's what I think. Okay, you can get users analytics as also, like what query I have done, and uh, who has used audit trails and etc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Another thing, um, the CXO Copilot, again, it's trying to solve a specific unique problem statement, and it's helping the executive
Hmm.
users to come up with information without having to bother their team members and things like that. However, the great potential of this CXO Copilot is that it can have this pre-established connections to data sources, be it Snowflake or anything, agnostic of the data source type. But let's say, in a simplistic use case, if I have one Excel sheet called sales and one Excel sheet called customer, and if I can just upload those two Excel files to a chat GPT and then ask the same question, it can pretty much do the same job, albeit it is solving in a much smaller scale, right?
Mhm.
So you can say this is more like an industrialized or a more a deep dive implementation of the same application,
Right.
right?
Right, but here, Chat GPT won't give you going ahead, right? It won't give you a PPT drafted.
Okay.
It will not
Mm-hmm.
give you the chart that you really want to. It will not give you much uh,
Right.
details like this. So if I download the PPT, it will go
Mm.
the PPT, and if I just show it to you, just
Okay.
share this.
So you mean to say there are some some standard assistants, I mean standard AI assistants like ChatGPT, that are withdrawing their support from generating PPTs and things like that, because ChatGPT can create some PPTs if you ask it to do it, right?
Right. But see, it's like, you are asking for it, right? Again, it's like
Okay,
more,
here it is kind of I think
more
if I have
proactive,
to
like,
use a technical language, you have instructed in the system prompt for it to do
right,
these things. Okay,
right,
got it.
right. And see, it's very pretty basic PPT as of now because I haven't given much weightage to this,
Yeah,
PPT
yeah,
and
got it. Yeah,
just that, I need to give some other better different system prompts and it will be done. But you can add gamma keys over here and then you can generate PPT in gamma itself, right? So, and you see what possible questions you can ask. Then you go to users analytics. The OpenAI and these things will not give you, like, how many errors I happened. Did total 9 queries, and this was the average latency. And then error out of nine, four errors was there. So which model used what? Query by source, right? User by query, which two users queried, and these are the recent query. And this you won't get these kind of analytics in OpenAI as well, right? Like, I mean, ChatGPT or these things.
makes sense. Yeah, totally makes sense. Yeah.
So, and it is totally data source agnostic. You have Google Sheet, BigQuery, Postgres, all done by MCPs, all through MCPs.
Right, right. So let's assume if one of the data sources that you are attaching is, let's say, a CSV file, does it physically ingest this file and keeps it in some location and then it refers to it,
It's
or it just creates
No, it's
the
it's locally saved in the engine itself. The moment chat goes away, it will, like, it's cached and saved here, right? Like the connection and these things, right?
uh,
It's hitting to Snowflake and then getting the data. But in terms of CSV and Excel, let's say it has like they have this 1 million, 1 lakh rows or that cutoff, right? So 1 lakh data they will store in cache and it will read from there and then generate.
makes sense. Okay. So basically, the whatever CSV file you are providing as part of, as a data source, it's not physically keeping a copy of that CSV file. It's only using the CSV file to processes it, and it just keeps it in a format where the LLM can make use
Correct.
of the information. Okay.
Right. So I just wanted to show it, folks, nothing much. And the Claude 101 10 modules will be there. I have already started working on this. And this session only will only be on like, let's say, Sundays. I won't be able to make time on other days. So Sundays, 1 hour or 90 minutes will sit, and it will finish off very sooner. It won't take that kind of grilling like we are doing in this session, these sessions. Okay, so the idea here is, to better understand the how to use Claude efficiently, then how to minimize your tokens, how to use skills, how to better use co-work, and that sort of things, right? So it will probably next week I'll be done. So I'll have to do some then I'll what do you say, share the information with you all in the group. Okay. Okay, guys, I think that's it from my side. If anybody has any question, let me know. I can spare some time, like 3-4 minutes.
Yeah, I have a question, but not related to the session itself, so I can stay back if you are okay. Just a
Yeah,
just a
yeah,
small. Can I go
definitely.
ahead, or should we wait for the session to end, or can I go ahead?
Go ahead, go ahead. I think,
Okay.
let
Okay.
me stop the recording. I